Hi. I don't know if this is going to be a live journal or, if I'll be reading to you. I've started journaling again, and it feels really good. I wanted to share a couple of observations with you anyway, just little things, but nothing's little, not really. What else is in our now? 99.9% of the time, but little things. It's their nowness that lends them value, I guess. I don't know. Anyway, back when living pretty much from mind, I would be careful when the air conditioner was running to see to it that the windows were closed. Didn't want to air condition the outdoors. And that was fine. That's where I was then. Nothing against it. I think we can see, however, the insanity that takes it to creating office buildings with never a breath of fresh air, with windows that won't open, and so on. This, all in the name of saving money. I mean, if we look at it, what else is that? It's focus on the almighty buck. USD, whatever you want to call it, FRN, Federal Reserve Note. Anyway, that's another topic. These days, you won't find a time, I don't care if it's 100 degrees outside or 20 below zero, when I don't have a window at least an inch or more open. I refuse to be without a breath and the sound of the outdoors. And furthermore, my critters developed their own doggy door. While I was pondering purchasing one, having it installed, one of them, and I forget who now, got so excited. The screen door, I have a glass patio door thing. I don't have a patio, but the glass doors that slide. And so I had the glass door open and the screen closed. And I guess there was something on the other side of that screen that was just entirely too exciting to miss. And it was probably Cuddles that just charged and tore the screen away from its moorings in the corner there. And rather than fix it, what I do now is, for a limited number of hours a day, I let the cats out. I like to give the birds their dawn and dusk feeding without, kitty cat witnesses or danger. But in the middle of the day, they get to go out if they want to and come in if they want to. So I just close the glass door partially, and I guess I leave it about 8 inches open so that all 3 pets can come and go at will. And you hear the air conditioner running now, and living from heart is just different. You find yourself adopting a whole different set of beliefs, and these are the little ways where they show up. And so we can watch our actions and backtrack them to our beliefs. You can create a belief by anchoring it in, maybe using neuro-linguistic programming if you really want to get intense about it, if you've got that fiery flame. Or you can change your behavior. You can clean your chakras by inside spiritual work. You can also get that going by cleaning your windows in your house. You can start something either externally or internally. It's all the same in the end. It's all one. And that's the magic of being the creator of our reality. And so I guess that's neither here nor there nor relevant to anything in particular, but it's just something I was observing and I wanted to share. Okay, now I do have a number of journals lined up to share with you, and I'm going to step out of doing them chronologically now and go to the most recent. A lot of them are coming out in pairs, and so I think this is a pair. Well, they were both done on the same day, let's put it that way. These are from 8/31, and this is the first one, and then I'll record the second one as well. In a way, I didn't intend, I never intend, you know, I just intend to open to heart and let heart speak, and that's how the journals happened. But it seems to me, even though it's not a part one and a part two, that they do go together. And there are two excellent links that I hope everybody will click over to the written journals so you can get the live links and watch them. I think they're awesome. Okay, so, oh, and the Mayan day was 10 read, so toward the end. It appears some threshold has been passed as I'm journaling again, well, or more often anyway. While this is welcome, I can't say I understand what has changed, much less why, but oh well, I am content to accept what comes on the flow. So be in heart with me, please, always in heart, else you risk totally misunderstanding what is shared here. As I have yet to see a better presentation of the one, what that is, how that works, I am attaching a link to a short Sacred Sarrah video. If you will center down, getting out of your head before you view it, you will be pleased, I have no doubt. I don't know about you, but the strong message I get from my life right now is the leaving behind of mind and all its beliefs. That's a tall order, for it means we break with all custom and with simply everything we have known. Correction, everything the mind of us has known. The mind is largely responsible for our life, for its creation, using both thought and belief as its tools of construction. We have used mind to carve out whatever our life currently presents. Yet, who among us is froggy enough to take the leap into responsibility, into responsibility for that? Who among us doesn't point the finger of blame, or at least assign responsibility somewhere other than with self? Not many. Well, that doesn't matter to us now, does it? What do we care about how others are running their life? That is, frankly, both not our concern and none of our business. So, I encourage you to join me in pulling our tentacles of attention out of the energies, the aura of others. Let us turn instead to the self, for it holds all we need and all we could ever desire. We actually do have heaven on earth, right here, right now, right there where you are. Now, Get out of mind, which will likely want to crush and deny what was just said. Don't hear it from mind. Remain centered within, much deeper than mind. I will say it again so you can be sure to listen from heart. We do actually have heaven on earth, right here, right now, right there where you are. Just let it penetrate. No need to accept or reject it. Just let it be. Have a look at it. Self-observe. Who among us can see, can experience this present heaven? Surely our teaching that distances heaven both in time, the wait for death, and in space, being somewhere else, doesn't help. But so what? You are not limited by that or by anything. Let it go. That's part of the old mind programming that you can choose to either keep or discard. It's up to you. It is safe to say we have all had some heavenly moments, haven't we? Remember them? How they felt? Be in heart with it. As you do, you vibrate once again to that frequency, that coherent, well-balanced frequency. Heaven is accessible, my friends. Okay, it requires a major shift, but it is right here, right now, and available to all. If we want to experience the true heaven, rather than just imagining the one we were programmed to believe in, then we must drop all judgment, for sure. There is no judgment in Source, and if you believe there is, then your concept of Source is too small. And the one in the Bible isn't that, isn't Source. That is instead a minor God. You are as great, my friend. Now be still with that. Allow it to sink in. No need to either accept or reject, just self-observe. All that is between you and this present heaven is your beliefs. I'll say it again. All that is between you and this present heaven is your beliefs. I hope you will ponder that and allow it to inspire self-examination of those beliefs. I don't know a better way to enter in than that. If you will but place and keep your focus of attention in heart, Source will do the rest. And yes, you are that. We've got to, at some point, come into the awareness that we are the Creator gods. So of course, little g takes all of us together and then some. The all is the capital G. Right now, practically no one takes responsibility for that, or even for our very own creation that is our life. Now don't worry about understanding it, as that will come later. Stick with the what, remember, forsaking the why and the how for now. They are of mind. If we let them go, we create the acceptable vacuum into which the higher answers can manifest. We contain all of these answers, but due to the way we've structured our beliefs, they are not all accessible to us right now. Well, those answers are accessible, but we've got to make some changes in order to permit them to manifest. This all goes with taking responsibility for the life. Just who are you? Do you know? I'll tell you right now, you don't. There is not a single thought within mind that is adequate to answer that question, who you are. Not one. Until we can learn to set mind and its answers aside, the higher understanding is forced by our free will to wait in potential status rather than manifest. It takes some serious emptying out of the cup of self to make the necessary room. Yet, before we are entitled to step into the fullness of who and what we truly are, our divine identity as Source, we go through a stripping process. So many of us well know, huh? All of the old elements of the pseudo-self have to go first. This is to die to the old man, the old world, and be reborn into the new. And Jesus spoke of this, as did many masters before. This death we die is not a bodily death. Well, that is, unless we continue to accept the mind programming of our youth. Remember, folks, whatever we accept, that becomes our truth. You are truly more in charge than you now likely have a clue, most of you, including me. I don't exempt self. I'm not talking to you from some high mountain here. So, this death I've often spoken of as what can manifest as the dark night of the soul, though I don't think it necessarily has to do that. I think what produces that is our resistance. It is certainly the walk through the valley of the shadow of death. And it is a real death, too. Don't kid yourself. There have been a number of times over the years recently when I have actually wondered if it was the body dying. It is a very real death. A death to all that was, so the new can come forth. And then it hurts. That hurting is the letting go, or the call to do so. Well, the new is coming forth here. It hasn't been the one great awakening experience many have been taught to expect. Instead, it's been more merciful than that, coming in increments the body-mind complex could endure. Source is merciful, is compassionate above all. Source is love. You are that love too, clothed with flesh, manifest in form. Do you know that? Can you own it? Have you felt it coursing through you? That unaccountable love, grace, appreciation, compassion? I'm sure most of you have, but perhaps you've accepted your mind's ideas around what you were experiencing, instead of recognizing the very real presence of Source there. higher self, if you will. That love is you, my friend, at your core. Learn to recognize self in it. Capital S. In all of my work, letting go has been emphasized, and that's still the case. Our growth may well be proportionate to our ability to let go. Now, this is not to just trash everything that we are and 3D and all of our past, all we've become. That is not the way. No, and that would be too easy, wouldn't it? Have it all over in one great self-surrender. Well, it is one great self-surrender, but it's manifesting by steps and stages, by the rungs on the spiral of light. We are in motion at all times. We move in the direction of our choice. If things don't manifest as we'd like, then we must look within for the answer to that, not out to the world, which can only reflect us. Let us turn over a new leaf and learn to always look to the self for our answers, my friends. It will shorten our stay in samsara, for sure. Our thoughts and beliefs create the experience of our days, of our now here. That being the case, does it not make tremendous sense to pay attention to these? How can we make suitable change if we don't take hold of the tools of our creation, thought and belief? And here's the rub. Most people hearing that would automatically resort to their human will to bring about the desired human results. Now, I call that chasing your tail, and I've done plenty of it too. It just won't work. Not in the way we desire, anyway. Everything works. Oh no, this is the crux of the great shift, which, in addition to whatever mass movement might come, we all do personally. This is the point at which we must recognize that we don't really know anything. No, not one thing. And you see how if you haven't surrendered mind, there's no way you're stepping into this. This is the crucial phase at which, if we don't drop down into heart and surrender to that, then we will be lost, perpetually chasing our proverbial tail, lifetime after lifetime. We can't use mind to fix mind. A hammer can't hammer itself. An eyeball can't see itself except as a reflection, which is not the thing in itself. This is where the major letting go comes in. Right at that point, the point where we've recognized self as creator and determined to make a whole new creation. Everything here depends on how you define or identify the self. Who is that I that you are? Are you willing to give over all that you've known in order to see the self as divine? This is the crucial point where you encounter the death of the old man, what could be called the false self, the one who thought she or he knew pretty much everything. We only thought we knew who we are. we don't. Who among us can accept that? Who is ready to mold, to so completely change in self-definition as to be unrecognizable to the previous self, as the butterfly to the caterpillar? Who'd have thunk it, huh? The caterpillar has to die, has to completely let go for that miracle to occur. And I think Source has a very big hand in presenting that to us so obviously, so apparently, so around the world where it can be seen. This massive transfiguration that requires the death of the old to birth into the new. I die daily, an apostle wisely said. Do you see a deeper meaning in those words? Are you able to contact, to enter the humility within that will recognize not only how little you know, but that you actually know nothing of any great worth? While we may be the few at this point, we are fast becoming the more and the many, my friends. Keep the faith. This death so many of us are going through is a very strange walk, and a very strange space to occupy. All is well, my friends. The less you know, the better, actually, since all you know will one day be surrendered in the face of that great shift. That Source that you truly are may manifest. In Source, you know simply everything. But it is not in any way a mental knowing. We have a much higher way set out before us. We can take to the air and no longer be restricted to crawl on the ground. A higher way that will sometimes seem a very hard walk. This is where trust and faith are born, in the trenches of this dying process. This too is where divine love is truly birthed into form, purified in the refiner's fire. Yes, it has been here all along, this love, just as heaven has. But what use, what good does that do when we're off gallivanting in mind, still playing around under the delusion that the false self is who we are? We must let that go. That keeps our greatness held back as potential instead of bringing it into 3D and applying it, manifesting it here. In the midst of all of this, we experience a great vision shift. We develop what I have called heart vision, but it could be called God vision as well. We become so friendly with the paradox that continually crops up, eventually finding that our vision has made or is making a major shift. One of the best ways to spot this is to be one who journals your experiences, your inner journey, for then you can go back a bit and view how very differently you once viewed things. And it can be a shock. When we stick with the mind, we will always think we're just who we are, that we don't ever really change all that much, well, that shows you what mind knows. Just journal and see how very untrue it is. Thus, all that we took for true is discovered to be, if not lies, then just not the highest truth to which we have access. We were convinced we were these small little human things, and we believed it, thus creating our mindset, thus creating our reality, our previous life, or our life as previously experienced. What I have found is that for all of that to make way for the source self, the old self must literally die away. We must willingly lay it down, or we just prolong it. Now, it won't always seem like that. There will be times it seems to us things are happening that surely we didn't volunteer for. Surely we didn't choose. That is only a seeming, my friends. Remember, our current access to conscious mind comprises less than 10% of the whole of it. Let us cease relying so heavily on that pittance. It is our time now, if we will take it. There will be no violation of free will, no forcing of higher consciousness, of attainment. This is something each must choose. A walk we must willingly take, no matter how challenging it may seem at times, and it will. Yet, once we know, once we reclaim who we are in light, in love, and in truth, then all of that becomes a much smaller task, not overwhelming at all. It is very much within our reach, our grasp, my friends, but we must let go of the old hands, the old mind, the old ways used to grab things, to grasp things. Those will no longer work in the new dawning light of Aquarius. Now, our grasping becomes instead a greater comprehension on a much deeper level. We grasp things with heart, so to speak. We go and enter the kingdom that is and that has ever been within. Namaste.